The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, coming from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, worldwide, toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Ariadne Green, and we're going to be talking about dreams and mythology this hour with our expert. She's also the author of Ariadne's Book of Dreams, which was published by Warner Books going back to the year 2001, and Divine Complement, the Spiritual Terrain of the Soulmate Relationships, which was published by Palm Leaf Press in 2006. Now, my guest holds a master's degree in educational psychology from Cal State Hayward and completed 2 years of doctoral course in consciousness studies and philosophy of psychology at Saybrook Institute in San Francisco. Joining me now is Ariadne. And Ariadne, welcome to the X-Zone.
Well, thank you for having me, Rob.
So how are things?
I'm excited about the show today.
Well, we're happy that you're with us because dreams and mythology, two of my favorite topics.
They are? Well, that's not surprising to me, actually.
Why?
I have something kind of funny to share with you and the audience today, and that is that, in dream language, every, symbol, sign, name is meaningful.
Right.
And what's interesting is that you have a very interesting name yourself, as I do. And the reason being is that there's a Rob McConnell who lives a stone throw away from me. We share the same back fence.
Wow.
In Vallejo, California. Now, it just dawned on me this morning when I was thinking about the show, Rob McConnell. I kept going, Rob McConnell, Rob McConnell. I go, my God, Robert McConnell lives adjacent to me. And actually his wife participates in my dream groups quite frequently.
Wow.
But he's an attorney, and he's running for city council here in Vallejo. And I had moved back to my hometown, in 2007 from Maui, where I'd lived for many, many years.
Isn't that fascinating? By the way, what's his wife's first name?
What?
What is his wife's first name? What is Rob McConnell's?
His wife's first name is Paula.
Well, isn't that funny? Paula, and mine's Laura.
Really?
Really?
Okay. Well, they end with A.
Yeah.
Laura actually means crown, and Laura was quite a significant name for me throughout my life. I had many Lauras in my life, as well as Lawrences and Stevens. So names are really meaningful when we start to look at our life kind of as a dream, where, the people that we come in contact with, and even if they're living on the other side of the country, as you and I are,
Yes.
Share a divine connection. So what the synchronicity of my own backyard really suggests to me that we're connected somehow, and maybe it's a previous lifetime. And what do you think it is, Rob?
I think the fact that you and I have a very strong interest in dreams, mythology, and that I've been doing this now for 20 some odd years. And Adriana,
Ariadne,
I'm sorry. There have been times in my life when I've tried to get away from the the work that I'm doing in the world of the paranormal, parapsychology, and every time I've gotten away from it, I fall flat on my face. So 20 years ago, I looked up at the sky and I said, all right, you made my point. I will never leave this area again.
Well, it's your destiny, as it is mine.
Ariadne,
and your interest in dreams obviously connects us. But I think there's an even stronger connection.
All right, let's talk about these connections when I come back from this 2-minute commercial break.
Okay.
Ariadne Green is my special guest, X-Zone Nation, www.ariadnegreen.com or dreamthread.com. Dreams and mythology, two of my favorite topics when we come back from our commercial break in 2 minutes. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Ariadne Green is my special guest, X-Zone Nation. 2 websites, ariadnegreen.com, that's ARIADNEGREEN.com, and dreamthread.com. Ariadne, you and I were talking about dreams, and before we went to the commercial break, you were telling me how your next-door neighbor, or somebody very close to you, his name is Rob McConnell. And you know what? I believe in synchronicity. I believe that we are all connected in
That's
a
right.
very unique way. And I believe that as we get closer to the great galactic alignment that we're all going to go through come December 2012, that we are going, that we're going to leap forward in our natural evolutionary process. I think that right now we are the larvae just waiting to come out of the cocoons.
Well, you know, our evolution has been going on forever.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're constantly growing and changing. And our incarnations are about reconnecting with old karmic buddies,
Right.
old friends that we shared many lifetimes with. And I think our souls know each other very well. You said to me, you have positive energy, and that's because you're connecting in a grand leap of consciousness across many states in the United States, all the way from Canada, and connecting with my love for you.
Oh.
And Mary says that our lifetime was actually in the United States, and you knew Abraham Lincoln. Have you ever had any kind of connection with, government or American government, or ever saw a lifetime in which you were?
Well, I used to be a police officer before I came into broadcasting 20 years ago. But I do remember as a child going to Gettysburg with my parents, and as we were in Gettysburg, it felt very familiar to me.
Right. Well, you were a very significant friend to Lincoln.
Wow.
And as was I. And actually to his wife. And you were related to his wife. You were a cousin. And so you were part of the Lincoln household. And that's how we knew each other. And we were great friends. And you were one of the people who truly liked Mary Lincoln, according to Mary.
Wow.
And really appreciated her. Because few did. They didn't understand her. And she was really a mystic and a clairvoyant. As was Lincoln. Lincoln was very much into his dreams, and as we know, he actually prophesied his own death. He saw himself in a coffin, and they said it was the president, and he woke up from that dream, I'm sure knowing what was about to happen next. And that's just one arena of dreams that we can, certainly talk about. And since dreams fascinate you, and they've certainly become, a lifelong process for me as a dream expert. I didn't always be, I didn't start out my career as a therapist interested in dreams, but it was a kind of a natural evolution that happened when I was really ready to kind of step into the shoes of my authentic self, and I had a spiritual awakening, and with it profound dreams, including a dream in which I pulled a serpent up out of my body and out of my mouth. And that serpent power is something that indigenous shamans recognize as the potential within each of our souls to truly raise our vibration and to lift our consciousness into a more mystical self, to connect and align with our higher intelligence. And when the soul is ready, the soul is ready, and the dreams come, and they can initiate us into new worlds and new dimensions of consciousness. And then, but some of our dreams are merely working out our life's problems. And I have, if you've read my book, or if anybody in the audience has read my book, I put forth a model for understanding dreams that's a little bit unique. It's very different than, the more scientific model that of the models for dream work from the psychological professions. In it, I talk a shaman's perspective on dreams, and that dreams come from many levels, but I use the shaman's model of the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world as being the main dimensions of dreaming consciousness. And then with each of those worlds come different kinds of dreams and other dimensions, so that dreams from the lower world connect us with the collective unconscious, what Carl Jung called, the collective consciousness that everyone holds within them.
So tell me, what was it that catapulted you into the work that you're doing now?
Well, I was a therapist for many years, actually for about 13 years, and from the time I was 19 years old, I volunteered in crisis intervention hotlines and suicide prevention. Then I went to work for mental health and got my degrees and worked as a therapist. But I had a spiritual awakening back in 1987, and it really was a healing crisis. And what happened is that I awakened very profoundly. Some people awaken slowly, and they start to gain back their authentic self in increments. They start to kind of tune in and, develop their intuition. For me, it was like a shock wave. I had a dream of, pulling the serpent from my mouth, and all my chakras blew open, and I was in another world. I mean, I was half crazy.
Wow.
And it was that place of, between worlds. And some people are actually misdiagnosed if they don't understand what's going on. But, I was sophisticated enough. I was a therapist. I understood what the process that I was going through. And with it, a great deal of healing. And with it, significant change. I actually left California at that time and was guided to move to Taos, New Mexico, which was a profound place to kind of come back to myself and to learn what was intrinsic within me. And part of that learning was that, my destiny was that I was the interpreter of dreams, and my mother saw it. She named me Ariadne, and you said that you're interested in mythology. Well, the mythos of Ariadne is that she's the guide into the labyrinth. She holds the thread. Really, as an archetype, she leads us all through the terrain of the soul and understands the language of the soul. So my mother saw who I was, but I had to awaken to it somewhat late, when you come to think about it. I was entrenched in another kind of model as a therapist than I am now. Now I consider myself truly a shaman, and I, have, done healing work for years, taught shamanic healing work, taught dream groups for, 20 some odd years now. And with each one of those groups, you learn more and more about the dreaming process and what it means to be a conscious dreamer. And you understand the language well. It's something you can't learn from a book. And,
how do you tell the difference between, like when you wake up in the morning and you've had these dreams, how do you tell the difference between a dream that is spiritual and a dream that is just your mind purging all the unnecessary information that you need?
Well, your spiritual level of dreaming, I call upper world dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And a spiritual dream can be, riding on a horse on a mountain trail with a Native American guide behind you, and knowing that you're heading in the right direction and that you're being guided, and you end up on the top of the mountain, and in unison with your partner, you start singing, a song about love. That's a spiritual dream.
Right.
That's what we call a big dream. And it awakens you. And when you wake up, you feel transformed in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Your consciousness has been lifted. Spiritual dreams can be coming in contact with a spiritual master like Jesus. I had a profound dream where I was with Jesus, and it was so profound. The love was so amazing that I woke up and I will never forget the feeling that I had.
All right,
I was rubbing his tunic top. It was like camel hair or some kind of woolen.
All right, we're going to
fabric.
have a cliffhanger here because I do have to take my news at the bottom of the hour. Nation, Ariadne Green is our special guest. www.ariadnegreen.com or www.dreamthread.com. We're talking about dreams and mythology and much more this hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Exonation, Ariadne Green is my special guest. We're talking about dreams and mythology this hour. If you'd like to give us a call, toll-free worldwide, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Don't forget, I'm going to be the master of ceremony for the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo here in Toronto, February the 17, 18, and 19 at the International Center on Airport Road, 6900 Airport Road in Mississauga. For more information, get a hold of Chandler Armstrong. And his website is www.bodysoulspiritexpo.com. Ariadne, we talked briefly about dreams, and there are some very famous dreams that people know about. Of course, you certainly mentioned the one about with Abraham Lincoln, and then the Bible is filled with dreams that seem to be almost prophetic.
Right. And Daniel was the big prophetic dreamer in the Bible. And you know, the thing is that in many cultures,
right.
in all cultures, there have always been those who were the dreamers and who prophesized important information for the community. They were the shamans. We can, you know, look at Carl Jung's life, and we can see him not only as a brilliant psychologist, but really he was a very highly evolved spiritual individual who contributed a great deal to our understanding about dreams. You know, when we talk about spiritual dreams, we talk about dream prophecy. The only problem is that there's difficulty when we start traveling on this terrain of believing that, you know, a dream is a prophecy of something. For instance, having a dream of a hurricane, you know, which we're certainly going to be experiencing some severe weather on the East Coast, isn't necessarily a prophecy of something that's going to be coming. The majority of those kinds of dreams are really comments or responses to our own personal life events. And a hurricane that you might experience at night while you're dreaming has an altogether different meaning. It just basically means you're going through a great deal of emotional turmoil, and maybe the circumstances in your life is creating a great deal of upheaval. Maybe it's a relationship problem, or you're facing an ugly situation at work. If it's disastrous enough to, you know, throw a bunch of debris in your way, you're going to have to start cleaning it up, so to speak. So, you know, those are our dreams are communicating with us through a different kind of language than the literal language. And that language is metaphor. So, you know, many of those who, you know, say they're having prophetic dreams are really just, you know, they're not correct. They're just taking their dreams too literally.
Let me ask you this question. You know, you go into any bookstore and you go into the dream section, there's all these different books on dreams. And if you go into the symbols and let's use the word horse, for example. There was a horse in my dream, a black horse. 5 out of 10 books will give you totally different meanings.
Right, exactly.
So how do you know what the symbology actually means? I mean, besides having the opportunity of speaking to you in person.
What do you think a horse represents if you were to try to connect with the consciousness of a horse?
Well, if I was to have a dream of a horse, I would look at strength. I would look at beauty. I would look at I think strength and beauty would be the two that just pop out. Right,
exactly. And horses are, when we talk about animal powers in dreams, we're talking about that lower world experience where it's more than just a dream of sorting out issues. You're coming in conscious contact, perhaps with your animal ally. And dreaming of a horse does represent strength, exactly. Intuitively, you know that. It's that strength to move forward in your life with your spiritual power. And certainly dream dictionaries have some value because you can get different authors' perspective on what a meaning of a symbol is. But a lot of them really miss the boat, and they interpret, animal dreams as symbolic. And from a shaman's perspective, an animal power dream is a very different,
All right, I've got to ask you to stand by. I just received something from our newsroom. Hurricane Irene continues to churn its way towards the U.S. East Coast, and all indications are that this storm, as President Obama said, will be historic. Now, here are some of the events that weather experts say could develop over the next 48 hours, Exonation. Irene is bringing gusty winds, heavy rain, and dangerous surf to the South Carolina coast today. North Carolina will be pounded by Irene's forces Friday night and Saturday. Irene will head north Sunday, hitting a large swath from Virginia to Maine. Major metro areas of Philadelphia, New York, and Boston should brace for possible widespread damage, including major flooding as Irene hits Sunday. The strongest of Irene's power will be to the east of its center. Widespread power outages are expected over a large section of the Northeast. New York's metro transit system will be shut down at noon on Saturday, and East Coast travel will be severely disrupted starting tonight. Hundreds of flights and Amtrak lines have also been canceled. If you're planning a trip to that part of the United States, call up the airport, call up your travel agent, see what is happening, and whatever you do, please take care of this information from the X-Zone Newsroom. Sorry for disturbing you, for interrupting the conversation.
I think that this is, a huge issue for everyone on the East Coast, and certainly everybody on the West Coast is praying that this storm doesn't do the kind of damage that they're predicting. But we were talking about horses.
Yes, horses.
And this is a horse of a different color, isn't it?
Very good.
Anyway, so you were asking about symbols. Well, when we have, our dreams, as I said, speak in a symbolic language. And a symbol has, a subjective meaning, which means that it has a very personal meaning to you. And then there's the objective meaning of a symbol. And that's where a dream dictionary can be valuable. But I'm going to tell you, there are some really lousy dream dictionaries out there. One of the worst, I think, is 1001 Dreams Interpreted. It's full of, superstition, cats are evil, and all those kinds of things. It's just amazing to see how many people have that book and use it. So in understanding what a particular symbol means, it's really important, one, to look at the symbol and then to kind of cross a bridge out of the construct of your mind and move towards your intuitive self. Let's take a symbol that maybe you've had in one of your dreams, Rob. What's an outstanding symbol that really just kind of sticks out from one of your dreams?
Oh gosh, well, I'll tell you this dream that I keep having.
Okay.
I when I come to it when I wake up or when I first have any recollection of this dream, I'm standing in a black abyss. Then all of a sudden, I hear some organ music, and these two big golden doors open. I pass through into a chamber that seems to me, I can only relate it to something that I would imagine would have been on Mount Olympus many years ago. And there is a council chamber with two tiers. Now, on each side, sitting in the middle is what I perceive as the person in charge, and behind him is another person. And on each side of him, on two levels, there are three men on one level, and then three men on a lower level. They're all wearing white. They all have white hair, blue crystal eyes, and wearing these white gowns, and the message I get is keep searching, you will find the truth. Keep searching. Organ music starts. I seem to be pulled out of the scene. Doors close. I wake up.
Okay. All right. So let's look at what the outstanding symbols might be in that dream. There are several of them. Okay.
Okay.
One is the golden doors.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what would you imagine golden doors would represent? Objectively.
The key to my inner.
The key to your inner what?
My inner being, who I really am.
Your authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah, you go through the golden doors. And the color gold relates to what?
Purity.
Purity. And what else?
Jewelry.
I want you to say this, Rob.
Okay.
It is my value.
It is my value.
And how does it feel when you say that?
Goosebumpy.
Goosebumpy. And there's the truth. So those golden doors are moving towards your value for you to see who you are. All right. So now we have the organ music.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a little more personal. Now let's take it out of the objective and into the subjective. What memories do you have of organ music?
It was the kind of music that you would hear in church, like a high quiet, like the kind of music that you would hear at the. I've heard on television watching a special from the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Okay, all right. So you would think it to be religious or
spiritual. I'd say
okay.
spiritual.
And what does music do? What is the purpose of music?
Well, music is used as a means of communication. It's used as a way to interpret feelings.
Okay.
It's
all right. There's your mind going. So, music puts an exclamation point on something in this dream, or it is melodious to move you or uplift you in some way, you know?
right.
All right. Now, these three men, okay, they're on tiers, is that it?
Well, yeah, there's okay, you've got the center figure, and behind the center figure is somebody standing on his right-hand side behind him. And then on each side of this person who is sitting in the middle, there are three men on each side on one level, then three men on each side on a higher level behind the first row men.
Okay. And your authentic self says these men are who?
Oh, well, yeah, at the time I didn't know, but after talking to people like yourself over the years, I would say spirit guides.
They could be spirit guides, right? It's unusual for that many spirit guides to show up at once, right?
Okay.
Okay. So how am I going to know who these men are? Now, this is a question that most dreamers would struggle with. Okay, but there's an easy way to discover who they are.
Okay.
And it's called dream reentry. So I want you to just close your eyes and imagine yourself standing before these men.
All right, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do this as we go to our next commercial break.
Okay.
Exo Nation, our special guest this hour is Ariadne Green. We're talking about dreams and mythology. Her website is ariadnegreen.com and dreamthread.com. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. My guest this hour is Ariadne Green. Her website is ariadnegreen.com or dreamthread.com. Okay, we've got about 3 minutes left, and I was wondering if you could kind of just interpret that dream that I've had, because
Well, you know, what's interesting about the dream is that this is about your value, and that particular group of men, they form a council, and they're a council that guides you, and they want you to recognize something about your purpose on Earth. And it's important for you to seek out through prayer and through some divine intervention to see what your next step is. And I think it's more global, is what I'm getting. You have a great destiny. And I think television is really going to be your forte. And I think they're really wanting you to make a big shift from your show in Ontario, and to think bigger.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your assistance. Listen,
well, that's what we call a destiny dream, and
really?
that's a big dream. And because it's reoccurring, and many people have reoccurring dreams, it's like your subconscious is trying to get a message across to you. It's very important to dive deeply into those dreams that show repetitive patterns or that reoccur. And even if they only one sequence reoccurs, it's important to your emotional self, to your psychology, and maybe to, like your dream, to your spiritual destiny. So our dreams have value, and you know, the majority of people don't have the foggiest idea what their dreams mean. And what's important is that they share their dreams with those in their families, so that they start to learn the language that is being communicated to them every single night. It's, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand dream language. You just need to open up your intuitive mind and your heart a little bit more, and the meaning comes clear.
Let our listeners know how they can contact you for more information, my dear.
Okay, well, they can certainly email me at Ariadne@dreamthread.com, Ariadne at Dreamthread, DreamThread, and also at editor@ariadnegreen.com.
Ariadne, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show, and I look forward to the next time you join us back here in the X Zone.
Well, God bless you, Rob, and I'll tell Rob McConnell.
Rob McConnell said to say hi.
That I talked to you today.
All right, you take care of yourself.
All
X Zone
right.
Nation, we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back.